What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Variant the Podcast. What is up, Tim?
What's going on, Arris? Greetings, Variant Nation. Glad to be back.
It's a very special day, Tim.
Yes,
for me.
Today is a special day. It's always a special day, but today
it's a very special day.
Is a day that's special for you.
It is, because it's the last Tuesday of the month, and a new issue for my comic series always launches on the last Tuesday of every month.
That's right.
So issue 3 of Astonishing Times is out now.
Out in the world.
Yes.
And we actually talked about this issue last week, I believe. But this is the real first introduction of Infinite.
His first full appearance.
The powerhouse Superman-esque character of the Astonishing Times universe. First of all, it's only been out, actually, right now, it's only been out for about 12 hours or so.
Yep.
What's the reaction been so far?
It seems like people are really digging it. Like, I actually, unfortunately, haven't been looking too much just because we've been doing,
You've been busy today.
I've been writing and stuff like that. So I haven't been, keeping, oddly enough, I usually keep a close eye on it. I'm like usually on it.
I said that to you earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, where are we at? And you're like, I actually don't know. I was like, oh, wow, I guess this is old news for you now.
It's just, I'm trying to stay focused because we're already like on Tuesday and tomorrow's Wednesday and the week's going to fly and I want to have a certain amount done by the end of the week. So I'm just trying to no distractions. I could easily get in a wormhole. It's not
really so much a matter of want to. It's a matter of have to. We have to get certain things done.
So, I could easily go down that wormhole. But from what I've seen thus far, because I'm definitely going to be all over the social medias tonight, is people are digging it.
Awesome.
I saw a review on Amazon where someone was like, "This is a really cool twist." So I was like, all right. So, okay, people are, because this is a big issue. I've been saying it for months now, weeks, that this is where
things are starting to ramp up.
Yeah, they're definitely ramped up, and we unveil, one of the big twists in the book or plot points in the book, to where after this, it's just superhero mayhem. Because the first two issues were, they had, decent amount of action, but there were a lot of build, story, world building and stuff like that. Where now it's like, okay, the characters, the situation. Now let's play.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm really excited. In issue 4 and 5, I reread them again recently because it's been a while since I actually just read them through as actual comic books.
Things get nuts pretty quick.
Yeah, it's
going into issue 4.
It's crazy. Issue 4 is probably my favorite issue, I think. There's several moments that are my favorite moments in issue 5, but I would think overall issue 4 is crazy.
I think I know why.
It's crazy.
I obviously can't say, but I think I know why, and I don't fault you for that.
But we get lots of this. Again, this is the first full appearance of Infinite. We get we learn more about him. He talks about the Cataclysm in this. We get a little bit of his origin, where he came from. So this is a big one, just because it introduces our powerhouse in this world, and I'm very excited to see how people take to him, and even just the longevity of him, where because he's going to be reoccurring. So I'm very curious to see how they our Boy Scout-esque hero.
Yeah, and there's along with the introduction of Infinite, there's some interactions that he has with other characters in this issue that kind of start to set a tone.
For sure.
They start to set a tone,
For
y'all.
sure.
So, this is a fun one, for sure. I mean, the entire series has been great so far. But issue 3 is, I think, you can feel it when you're reading it, that things are about to really take off. Leading into from issue 3, well, a couple of things I'll note is we also just put up an episode on the main channel for issues 2 and a tease for issue 3. So that's up on the Variant channel right now. If you want to check that out, we'll put links for that in the description of this episode. So we've got that up on the channel, but also we mentioned a couple of weeks ago we were going to be putting out a character spotlight on the 2 female superheroes of the Astonishing Times universe, Cross Out and Medica. We were going to put that out before, but after looking at it again, I kind of realized that these characters don't really fully make their full introduction until issue 4. So I held off on that until it'll be probably about second week to third week of October. You guys will see that. So that'll come out a little bit later than we initially said on the show.
But that's a fun one. I like how with this, with these first 5 issues that you don't even see a lot of the big players till issues 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just said, which is a reason why, it makes sense to even push that spotlight episode back, is because they don't really come into play in a big way or at all, kind of really. Well, no, we see Cross Out early on.
There's little hints.
Yeah, there's little hints, but we see Cross Out briefly in the first issue, but we certainly don't see Medica and all that stuff till 4 and stuff like that. So That's gonna be fun.
That's a lot of fun, and that's what I think was really fun about this story. Again, I'm kind of repeating myself because I really do like how you guys built out. You took the time to build out the world in the early issues and introduce the audience to not just kind of a story, just have them jump right into a story, but you introduced this broader world, these characters. You made it gave it a depth. To let people understand that there's a lot more here that you're going to be able to explore and to discover as time goes on. And by the end of the series, you're very much going to get the vibe and realize there's a lot more to come. For sure. With Astonishing Times. This is just the first round, which is pretty exciting overall.
That was, I've told you before. I don't know if I said it on here before, but that was one of the things I was actually insecure about when remember when we originally got the first 2 issues back and done. Yeah. And you read them. I was like, does it feel like too slow? Like, because I was wondering if the pacing we did was like too slow. I'm like, I don't want it to be too slow. But, I don't want people to like not be interested because there's not enough action and stuff like that. But on the flip of that, there's a certain, there's a lot of comic books out there. And one recently that came out, I'm not going to name any names, but when they set up the character and the origin, it literally happened within like 4 or 5 pages. And I'm like, this is too quick. Like I didn't care just because of how quick by like page like 6 or 7, already a superhero going on. I'm like, oh wow, like there was no building at all. Yeah. So, glad we did what we did because I think that slow burn worked out. And a lot of the best stories out there, in hindsight, when you think about it, like Watchmen and stuff like that, they are slow burns. You know what I mean? And they do even read better in like trade format just because you get the whole story and you're not having to wait every issue, which I think is going to be the case with Astonishing Times. I think once this is collected in a trade, because a lot of times when they're collected in a trade, you'll have a whole new audience because they'll just read the whole thing in one swoop. Yep. I think once people could read it all in one sitting, it may even resonate more just because it'll just be that more fluid.
And because it's a 5-issue mini,
it'll be easy, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be a difficult read. You know what I mean in terms of the length. So I think that's going to serve the book well. And of course, we're going to continue to bring it to all of you guys. We've been kind of doing a steady, slow drip of introducing the world of Astonishing Times to all of you guys because we realize not everybody watches absolutely every episode.
For sure.
And so we want to make sure to be consistent in bringing you guys these stories and these characters over time, over the course of, the 5-month period. Yeah. So that as much of our audience can be introduced to, this book and these characters as possible. Because I think it's going to have a lot of longevity. There's these, especially once people really, because as you said, that's a little bit of a writing pet peeve of mine, actually, is when people don't give, if you have a good story, right? If the writer or, the filmmaker, whatever, story format it is, if you don't give the audience enough time with the characters and lay the foundation of the story and give yourself something to build on, it really can fall flat pretty quickly. Yeah. So you guys did a great job with that, and I'm excited to see as now we get into like the real meat of where the first arc is going. Yeah. I'm excited to see people start really kind of sinking their teeth into some of these bigger characters, because I think that as we do that, there's going to be a lot of like, oh, this guy, this is my guy. You know what I mean? How could, how are you going to do my boy like that sort of thing? Yeah. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see, because again, the response has been great thus far, but I really want these last 3 issues as far as like where we start doing our twists and turns and bringing out all, the fun stuff. I'm curious to see what people think of that. So that's the,
We're almost there, man.
It's crazy to think 3 issues, more than halfway done with these first 5 issues. How nuts is that?
Crazy. Well, I mean, happy fall. We're in the fall already, dude. It's just like we're entering Halloween season here in the next couple of days.
When issue 4 drops, it'll be like what, 2 days after Halloween already at that point?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Well, before Halloween. Yeah.
Before the Halloween's obviously the 31st.
Yeah, because it comes. I believe Tuesday. It's. Let's see. I have the date here for. I have all the dates listed. So the final or issue 4 of Astonishing Times drops on the 26th of October.
So it's a few days before Halloween.
So it's a few days before, but that's that we're in that last week, the last few days of Halloween. We actually have a really fun lineup coming. Yes. So we've got the teaser for issue 4. coming. So we'll have the book dropping.
That's going to be a good teaser because
it's going to be
that's
a really good tease.
It's not spoiling anything. All I'll say is fights.
There's a lot. I don't want to say anything else. I'm not gonna. You can tease whatever you want. It's your doggone book, but yeah, there's a lot of really fun stuff in that. So we're gonna have that, and then we got Gunslinger Spawn #1, which actually drops on the 20th of October. So we're gonna be covering that. That looks like a ton of fun. Then we're gonna be doing and covering our top 10 favorite horror comics. Leading into Halloween weekend, and then on Halloween Day, we're gonna kick off our Eternals coverage. With who are the Deviants.
Which is a cool episode, but not really that Halloween-y, right?
I mean, they're villains. It's Villains Month.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping up Villains Month and on Halloween Day.
We need to just go completely AWOL and do like freaking like Jason Voorhees, stuff like that. Freddy Krueger.
Get real
Halloween
serious.
up in here.
Well, I mean, we are doing other things in the month of October, and we kind of hinted and alluded to it a couple of weeks ago when we first came back. But this month also in October, we're actually partnering once again with Comixology and Comixology Originals.
Comixology? Who's that? Who's Comixology?
Yeah, it's this tiny little company.
Yeah, I guess they're cool. Isn't there an Astonishing Times book that they
owned
have?
by an even smaller company, Amazon? So the same publisher, Comixology Originals, that is distributing Astonishing Times. We're partnering with them again, and Scott Snyder's brand new footprint with them. It was a Best Jacket.
Best Jacket. Wait, are you telling me that Astonishing Times is on the same publisher as Scott Snyder's imprint?
It is, in fact. Wow. It does share a publisher.
Does that inadvertently make me in some weird alternate reality colleagues with Snyder?
No.
All right.
Let's not push it.
That's fine. I love you, Snyder. I love you. Whatever.
Actually, we actually just recently sat down with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo to talk about their most recent, I should say the first book to kick off Scott-tober, their Scott-tober, which is it's the first of 8 titles being released under the Comixology Originals and Scott's Best Jacket Press imprint.
Scott is like one of the nicest dudes ever, too, right?
He is just a really cool, down-to-earth guy.
Every time
he's always the best to talk to because you don't even have to really say anything. You can just be like, "Hey, man, tell me all about it." And he'll be like, "Thank you. I've been wanting to tell someone."
But even more, like everything about him is so sincere. Like he genuinely wants to know how you're doing.
Guy.
Like he's just super chill. Like he's we talked to him, several times. He's always like one of the most fun people to talk to in an interview. Like every time I know. I get to talk to him about a comic or just in general. I'm like, yeah, dude, yeah, and he's become like kind of like a buddy, So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's like a buddy.
Yeah, he's a buddy. It's a friend.
We all have hopes and dreams. No, but we're actually going to be partnering with them this month, and we're going to be doing exclusive, just like what we've been doing with Astonishing Times for you guys. Yep. We're going to be bringing you an exclusive sneak peek at issue 1 of We Have Demons, which is the very first of the 8 books being released for the Scott-tober and the new imprint. Yeah, the first issue is just really good. I will save it for the episode. But we both read the first issue, and he gets into some serious mythology with this book.
I mean,
he does it in a really smart way. It's just really, really good. And him and Capullo, of course, together.
They're the dynamic duo of comic books.
Yeah,
but if you like horror or supernatural, I guess you should say too, like
supernatural
angels,
horror,
demons.
sure. I mean, it's called We Have Demons.
We Have Demons. But without spoiling anything, because the book's not out yet, it deals with it's kind of his take on evil and good, angels, demons, and stuff like that. But he does it in a real cool blockbuster, rated R, superhero-y way, and I love it.
And one of the cool things that we're doing is we sat down with them, and we talked about the book, and they were both just great and very open, and shared a bunch of great inside, creator insights for you guys that we're going to be inserting into the episode, while we're also going to be doing kind of a pull list style review of the first 6 story pages of the issue. So kind of a tease so you guys can go grab that for yourself. So our episode is going to be dropping on October 3rd. So you want to keep an eye out for that. And then the actual book drops, I believe, on the 6th.
October 6th.
Of October.
Yep.
So that's going to be fun. And then later in the month, we're also going to be doing the exact same thing with the next book in the series, Night of the Ghoul.
Night of the Ghoul, which is like a classic horror comic.
Yes, it's kind of like their tip of the hat. It's Scott Snyder and Frank Avella.
Well, it's legitimately like, when talking to Snyder, he literally, said, this is like my, my take on classic horror, which you could see
definitely
it in the book because there's a lot of like, again, not to give anything away, but there's a lot of things where it even goes to black and white in time.
Yeah,
at times, and it's like, oh, so straight up, like you know. I don't want to say anything because that one's a little farther out.
We won't.
But it's a really, if you like classic horror, like movies or comics, I think you'll really enjoy this.
I know that they did release 1 or 2 color pages. But
not nearly enough to like tell anything.
Lettering or anything like that. So, but you can if you've seen those articles that are put out through like Bleeding Cool and IGN and stuff like that with the announcement. I think it was just 1 or 2 pages of it, but it has a very vintage look. Francavilla just did a fantastic job with it. But it's definitely Scott's tip of the hat to the Universal Monsters, classic monster genre.
There's something he did in it, which obviously I'm not going to say because it's not out yet, but it's something that I was playing around with as far as like linking things to things, and I'm like, mother, that's kind of something that I wanted to do. All right, well.
Don't you hate that? Yeah. It's the worst, man. It's the worst. Yeah. So, but everything that we've read, and we're going to be kind of following, obviously, the rest of the books that they're going to be releasing. Because again, there's 8 different titles that they're going to be releasing over the next couple of months under the Best Jacket Press. Scott's imprint. So we're going to be following along with those, but these 2 issues for now are going to be exclusives for you guys, so definitely make sure to keep an eye out for that. October is going to be a fun month. We got a really cool lineup for October.
Every October seems like we have we put a lot into it just because it's fun.
I feel like it's gotten better as the years have gone on. Like we've just kind of honed it very nicely, and every year it just gets a little bit more fun because we mix it. Because originally we were just doing villains. Now I feel like we're doing a better job of mixing like horror and some pulp stuff with comic villains. We call
it Villains Month, but I've always felt like anything that's Halloween-y kind of fits in there. Like obviously the majority of the month is going to be villains, but I feel like anything that's like, horror still fits. Like even if it's like an anti-hero or like someone like Ghost Rider, where it's like he's obviously not a villain, but that's super Halloween-y. I mean, he's from hell. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I will admit, I personally like sticking with the bad guys.
You're a purist.
Yeah, I like sticking with the bad guys.
But we've even done stuff like Batman The Long Halloween, which obviously there's villains in it, but it's a Batman story.
It's very villain. It's his Rogues Gallery centric.
Which is a 2-part movie, which I still haven't watched yet.
I haven't either.
But I need to do that because I own them digitally.
Guilty as charged.
But I need to watch that. We did Universal Monsters one year too. That was really fun.
That was one of my personal favorites that we did. Yes. And we weren't even sure like how many people were going to want to see it. It didn't even matter. It just didn't matter. One. Yeah, that was just like that's just fun. We're just gonna do it.
It's an excuse to like research, learn more, and rewatch
Hope you guys
the movies.
Like it. It's out there. If you haven't seen it, our history of the Universal Monsters is a fun episode.
Now we just got to break it down and for different years and do like individually, like Dracula. Although
that would be fun.
Like I think I told you,
you could do like a history of Dracula in comics.
Well, that's literally what I was gonna say. Like I told you a while ago, we could do the Marvel Comics monsters, the werewolves, Dracula.
Yeah, we had planned that. I think that. How did that fall off our radar?
I don't know. We were talking about it.
I can't imagine.
At like a dinner one night, and I was like, "Yo, let's do like Marvel's Dracula."
Yeah. I think we actually talked about that prior to last Villains Month.
Something like that. I think it just got swapped out because we had an open spot, and now it's History of Two-Face.
Yes,
and I think that took the Dracula spot. But
because I would like to do a series. When we do that, let us know what you guys think of that idea of us doing for Villains Month or otherwise around Halloween of covering the monsters from Marvel Comics.
It's one of those episodes or even series I think like won't necessarily draw the most attention. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think people are going to be clamoring. It'll be super fun. But I think more people will be interested in people like Two-Face.
It is a little bit more niche.
For sure. But it's
that's
fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, some things in comics are just more niche. Still fun. Still fun. And we have, I have an idea that I have been planning and tossing around and kind of tweaking over the last few years that I am going to...
We're never getting to it. It's not going to happen.
It feels that way sometimes.
No joke.
But I was actually going to be moving towards producing this for the show a couple of years ago, and then the pandemic hit. So that kind of shot everything in the buttocks. So I'm hoping in 2022 that might actually be part of it. I'm not going to say what it is just yet, but it's a really fun kind of vintage concept for the show. That'll be very different from anything that we've done, but a lot of fun and something that will be specifically for either Halloween Day or Halloween weekend.
Yeah, it could be really fun.
Yeah.
Could be really, really fun.
So we'll see. That's a little tease without any information.
But anyway, Tim, let's move on to some Marvel stuff because we always got to talk about the big two.
Yeah,
there's always news of the big two.
For starters, what if, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. We didn't recap the latest 2 episodes, which would be what if Killmonger saved Iron Man, and then Thor. What if Thor didn't have a brother?
Yeah, I'm gonna say one of these things is not like the other. Is what I'll say about that.
What if Thor didn't have that? Okay, let's reverse this. Let's talk with the latest one. I guess that just makes sense anyway. The latest one, as of shooting this, because we're on a Tuesday, meaning the new episode doesn't come out till tomorrow, is what if Thor didn't have a brother? I think this is my least favorite episode of the season thus far. I think it is.
I don't even know that we can even say if he didn't have a brother.
Isn't that what it's titled?
I don't know if that's the actual title.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I believe that's what the title
because
is.
Loki is actually in the episode. He just Odin returns him to Jotunheim.
Yeah,
and
so
doesn't adopt him.
Right.
So he doesn't grow up with Loki, but they're still like best friends in the episode. It's just Loki grew up in Jotunheim,
but
so he's an ice giant.
They're best friends now. They're not brothers.
Or a frost giant, rather.
Let's see.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, that's very little difference because they weren't really brothers in the first place.
They were adopted.
He knew he was adopted.
Okay, what if Thor were an only child?
Okay.
Which still means he doesn't have a brother.
Whatever. Either way, this episode. Well, you tell me what you thought about the episode first.
So it's definitely my least favorite episode of the season. I don't know, man. Like it was just, it was just very much okay. Like just the whole premise of the episode was weird to me. Like I don't know why this was the what if they chose. Like there's so many other what if things you could do with Thor. Like you know, what if Thor got the Infinity Stones? What if Thor lost his hammer or something? I don't know. You could do so many different things instead of what if Thor were an only child. Like because then basically it just explored like he's the only child, right? Because Odin didn't adopt Loki. So because of that, he just goes on Midgard. He goes to Earth to party, and he just parties now. Party Thor. Like that's the story.
It was legit frat boy Thor. If Thor was a frat boy,
I hate to say it, but I feel like it was a waste of an episode, kind of. You know,
I don't hate to say it.
You know, I don't like. You know me. I don't like being mean to like people who are like. You know, there was someone like this is a good idea. I hope people like this.
I'm typically 100% with you, but you finish your opinion and then I'm going to say mine.
The only cool takeaway that didn't even really come to full fruition was he was battling Captain Marvel, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, at least we get to see like who would win in this scenario. Like this will be really cool. They fought, I don't know, briefly, 30 seconds for a minute, and then that was it. And they even kind of alluded with Captain Marvel saying that no, like if I go like full out, like it wouldn't even be a
yeah, she'd just take him out.
Which we knew. Kevin Feige said it years ago that Captain Marvel is the strongest character in the MCU, so we knew this. But I just wanted to see them fight, and we saw it briefly. Wasn't as good as I would hoped. And then there were some funny moments, some funny cameos. Jeff Goldblum was in it again. Agent Coulson was in it. But it's like, it was very meh for me. I mean, I have nothing, I'm not going to tear it apart. I don't like doing that. I'm just going to say it was my least favorite episode of the season. What about you, Tim?
Very good. I'm going to say this was also my least favorite, but that's an understatement. I have no idea what they were doing with this episode. This was... Are you questioning Feige? This 100%. This
it's on record now.
This felt so off the rails. I was like, "What? Why would this have even made it?"
That's what I'm saying.
Into the schedule.
It was a very questionable choice. Like out of all the what if scenarios you could have done with Thor,
there are so many different stories that you could have drawn from that would have been so cool to do.
What if Thor was adopted by the Frost Giants?
Anything.
That would have been dope.
Literally anything. You could sit down right now and think of about 10 things off the top of your head that would have been a cooler thing to explore than this. What if Thor just became a drunken frat boy at a party in Vegas?
Dude, you know what would have been dope? This actually would have made sense for the MCU too. What if Thor took off Thanos' head, went for the head? What if Thor went for the head?
Yeah, that could be cool.
Because the whole thing was like you should have went for that would have made sense. It'd be like, oh, you could have seen how things unraveled.
Well, I'm thinking of things like are actually in the comic stuff that we've actually covered on the show recently. Like, what if Silver Surfer got his hands on the Infinity Gauntlet?
Right, but a lot of the stuff they've been doing in the What If series for the show, they've been playing off of things that happened in the MCU.
And that's fine.
So that would be, but I'm saying that would be a really cool one.
Could.
Like, what if you went for the head?
Yeah, there's, like I said, there's a myriad.
You wouldn't have to do the redo the snap. Like, that would have changed everything.
Yeah.
Now I'm mad at them for not doing that. This is what I want now.
Like, I would have loved to have seen them do something that's Bruce Banner Hulk-centric, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if the Hulk decided to keep the Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Also, not even something even involving Thor.
Yeah, anything. Literally, it was such a throwaway episode. Not just like my kids. When the episode ended, all of my kids were like, "What was that?" They were like, "This was weird." It was weird. What was that episode even for? It felt like it didn't accomplish nothing. It didn't show us anything. There was no depth of story to it. It was just kind of this very shallow. Like, what if Thor was a party guy? In Vegas, literally in Vegas. Like, it was so on the nose that they were actually in Las Vegas. And then, like you said, when he fought Captain Marvel, it was not even something that you would be like, oh, at least that was cool, because it was all played for laughs. And then they just alluded that, if Captain Marvel actually used her real strength, she'd just kill Thor. And you're just like, okay. And the whole time, Thor is just this goofball kid, basically, in his behavior. And then it literally wraps up. I'm sorry if spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it, but you're not missing much. But it literally wraps up with Thor being scared of his mommy because his mommy's coming to like lay the smackdown and give him the wag of the finger and put him in his place because he's out of line, out partying when he's supposed to be home guarding Asgard. It was terrible. I'm just going to say that. I never say that. You guys know that. I never say that. That was one of the most throwaway things I've ever seen Marvel do.
It was definitely the worst.
You can be as gentle as you want. I'm just going to say,
what it is for me? I don't think I'm as passionate because, if it was someone like Batman, Spiderman, a character that I, care for a lot more, I probably would be more passionate. But since it was, I like Thor, but I'm not like, although the new Donny Cates Thor comic is making me like Thor more and more because he's freaking amazing. I always like Thor, but what I'm saying is he's not one of my favorite characters, so I'm just like, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, this wasn't about like Thor being my favorite character or anything like that. He's not one of my favorite characters. I do like the character. I do wish they would have done a little bit.
So it just struck a chord with you in general.
Well,
then.
I just was shocked by it. I was really shocked because every episode had gotten a little bit heavier. It was a little bit cooler. We'll talk about Killmonger in just a second. But we got that episode with Doctor Strange that was so deep and
that's the best episode of the season thus far.
I agree with you. But it felt like every episode was getting better and they were dealing with, serious topics and stuff. Not everything has to be serious. That's not what I'm saying. It could have been lighthearted and stuff like that. It was the entire premise. I was just shocked at how nonsensical and just, for me, and again, all of my kids, and all four of my kids have different sensibilities in terms of what they like, what they don't like, and all of them were confused by it.
Well, I haven't really even seen that many people talk. I think, I'm completely guessing right here, so no one quote me, but it feels like that's the general consensus.
Yeah.
That everyone's just, because when you don't hear about something, that's like the worst, right? Like I feel like that's even worse than people making fun of it, because what's worse, like not giving something attention is worse than the bad press, because it's like, oh, people just don't even care enough to make fun of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I was genuinely, because I'm just not, you usually don't, because there are some Marvel films that come out that weren't, they weren't my favorite or whatever. They're not as good as some of the others that they've done, and that's a different thing.
But it's just usually like, Thor related though, right? Think about it. The first Thor, people are like, about Thor the Dark World, people do not like.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok.
Although I think people are too harsh on Dark World.
Yeah, but the general consensus is people do not like that film. It's widely considered as one of the weakest ones.
Thor is definitely I would say, like, well, what I don't understand about Thor is that people fawned over Thor Ragnarok. And that was like when they did this like really serious kind of 180 with the character. It was in his behaviers and the tone.
Oh, you mean they changed him? Yeah.
That's
when Taika took over.
Taika came in and did it. Everybody loved it. For me, I've said it before. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not the biggest fan of the Thor Ragnarok. The tone of Thor Ragnarok.
I haven't seen that
really
movie
don't
in a
like
minute.
the way that they kind of. is just kind of indicative of the way that they've handled Hulk for most of the latter half of the first 10 years.
It was when Russo brothers got a hand of him.
Yeah.
How odd is that?
Right.
That's crazy.
It's very, very strange because they treated him almost like he was almost like an Ant-Man type character.
The Hulk?
Yeah.
I just, the
Hulk, a lot of comic relief.
He's one of the most popular characters in all of comics, not just Marvel. So he should have just been your straight up like brute powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like actually exactly what he was in the first Avengers film.
Exactly right.
Joss Whedon handled him perfectly. Joss Whedon's, things have happened to him.
Yeah.
But what I will say is the way he handled him in the first Avengers film was great. Even in the second, in Age of Ultron, I thought he was handled.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
So again, Russo brothers, amazing. They made some of the best, if not the best, Marvel films to date. But for some reason, for me, I feel like they missed the mark with Hulk, and I don't know how that happened.
And what made it worse for me, and I don't mean to get off on a whole like side road here with the Hulk thing, but with the Hulk, what made it worse for me is that they don't have the film rights to the Hulk. So they can't make a solo film for the Hulk, for Bruce Banner Hulk.
They put him in other
so they
ones.
can only put him in these films. And, you got Mark Ruffalo aging. He's not going to be playing this character much longer. We know that they're introducing She-Hulk, which means that's probably the direction they're going to go with the character generally as, Mark Ruffalo kind of gets phased out of that character.
Well, his arm's not healing.
Hulk.
What is he supposed to do, Tim?
Yeah.
His arm's not going to heal.
I'm not even going to acknowledge.
He can't be the Hulk if his arm's still in a sling at the end of Shang-Chi.
So stupid.
Sorry, spoiler, but that's a thing.
Just to reiterate that, let's just say that again. They still have Bruce Banner's arm in a sling after the events, years after the events of Endgame. The Hulk, Bruce Banner Hulk, is still injured. It's ridiculous. But it's again, it all kind of is indicative of like what they've done with that character, and that's the part that bothers me the most is that once he's phased out, they really can't unless they reboot or they do another version of the Hulk, which again, that's not going to be Bruce Banner Hulk. We will have lost the opportunity to get some really cool stuff, even with and that was, I guess, to be fair, I think this is one of the things that really rubbed me the wrong way with Thor Ragnarok is they took from Planet Hulk, Greg Pak, a good friend of ours here on the show, the Planet Hulk storylines, which that and World War Hulk are, in my opinion, some of the coolest Hulk stories ever written. They took from that and they just turned it into kind of like a comic relief, a funny, playful, and it had the like one coolish fight scene between Thor and Hulk, and even that was kind of done in a playful way, and it had a cool moment. But it even in that, you saw just the Hulk just get wrecked by Thor. And it was just this constant, and then you just had the Hulk walking around scratching himself, being like a big dumb idiot.
It's weird that you would take, Hulk is known as the powerhouse just in all comics, right? When you think of strong characters, you think of like Superman and the Hulk, right? So it's weird that like, I don't know, they were like, we can't have too many strong characters, so we'll keep Thor and we'll substitute Hulk for Captain Marvel, I guess. That's kind of like what it kind of happened, because as soon as we saw that they were bringing her in, they're like, well, we can't have that many powerhouses around, but it's like, why not? Plus, that would have been like a really cool dynamic, I think.
Yeah, the Hulk can't be in every place at once. Just have him doing different things.
I don't know. It's weird to me that literally Hulk's whole stick is the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. So his whole thing is anger. Yeah. Anger and strength. And they made him not angry and strong towards the latter half
at all
of the MCU, which is really, really weird. I don't know.
At all.
It perplexes me. Again, I want to know, was that Feige's decision or was that the Russo brothers' decision? Obviously, they all had, well, I guess if Feige said it, they didn't have to agree because whatever he says, he's like, no, this is where we're going. But I don't know. I'm very curious because that is just a weird, again, they got him right for, I would say even the first Hulk movie before even freaking Ruffalo was playing him. And then the first
whole, two. That's my secret. I'm always angry.
Yeah. And then even the first two Avengers films. And then after that, it's slowly... Like, I don't know. It's just so weird. It's Hulk weird. Smash. That's just like in the first movie where he's like punching his fist through the buildings and that's how he's climbing and he's just ripping things apart and like he freaking punches, hitting Loki around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, or when he punches Thor, like that's so funny. Like keep that relationship going.
I just don't get it. I've never gotten it. I will never get it. And what saddens me is that the window for them to do something cool with the character is closing rapidly.
I just miss Savage Hulk is what I'm saying. I'm not because even in the comics, I'm like Professor Hulk and stuff is like, yeah, it's fine. But I want Savage Hulk, like World Breaker Hulk. That's where they should have gone.
Heck yeah, man.
Just keep elevating and be like, oh, this guy's because you could even because you can't do a solo movie. But what if they did an Avengers movie where Hulk is kind of the villain, like in the first issue of the Avengers, and all they're like, dude, he's literally destroying the plates of the world, of the earth. We have to get his anger under control. Oh my God, that would have been so good.
It would have been. It would have been, but dang alas. But
anyway, from Thor to Hulk.
we got off on a little side note there, but it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed, guys. So, but going back to the original point is like, you know, there's several different things about the Marvel Universe, you know, in the first 10 years and up until now that I didn't love. But this is the first time with this Marvel What If.
Is this your least favorite thing the MCU has done?
I think so. And I was just surprised because it felt like, I don't know how else to say it. It felt like they just didn't really know what else to put there.
And you know what's funny about it?
So they're just like, oh, you know, it'll be funny and fun.
They had like the entire original actors doing the voices too, right? Like it was Chris Hemsworth doing the voice.
Yeah, they had
Tom Hiddleston
so many different
Loki.
people. You had Jeff Goldblum make an appearance.
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah,
like everyone.
So many people that made an appearance for this. You know, you had Hiddleston do Loki. I mean, it was just so many different people.
There was some funny moments.
Yeah, there was a couple of
little funny beats.
But it was, you know, a couple of things that, you know, I kind of chuckled at. But overall, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'll just say, for me personally, not at all my cup of tea. I just didn't get it, and I was shocked at how much of a throwaway episode
what do you guys think? What is how do you think this ranks on the episodes we've gotten thus far?
We should put up a poll
of where this ranks.
Yeah, I
want to know
of how people felt about this.
But let us know in the comments where this episode, the Thor episode, ranks as far as the What If series thus far. Because I'm curious. We're like alone and was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be the first time. But actually, when this episode comes out, I'm going to drop a poll on our Twitter. So keep an eye out for that. I want to see what everybody thinks about this. Whether or not this episode was a
hit or miss.
Yeah, but hit or miss for all of you.
But you know what was a hit, at least for me, Tim? The episode before that, episode 7, I believe, which was What If Killmonger saved Tony Stark. That one was really cool because we got Michael B. Jordan back.
Yep.
We didn't get Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But we got Michael B. Jordan. And we even got Chadwick Boseman in this episode. So let's go on a little rant on that.
It's kind of crazy.
I thought he was only going to appear in one episode this season. This is his third voice appearance this season. So obviously, What If T'Challa became Star-Lord was the first one. They even did, a dedication to him at the end of the episode, which was great. But I was like, I thought that was it. And then they kind of like shocked me. I'm like, oh, he did the voice for another episode, which was he was in the Marvel Zombies episode.
Yep.
And then he was in this episode, the Killmonger episode. So I'm like, oh, he's made 3 appearances. And if he's in any upcoming ones, we could have a 4th or 5th appearance.
He probably recorded all of them at the same time.
It's great. It's just great to hear him as the King of Wakanda again.
One last time.
Yeah. But anyway, this episode was really, really cool. I thought it was one of the more unique ones too, where some of them, like the first episode of the season, Agent Carter, where that was just like same scenario. You basically just changed one thing. It's like, what if she became, Captain America or Captain Britain instead of Steve Rogers? So it was like, there wasn't a lot of change there besides one little thing. Where this was like, you're bringing in an MCU character that had nothing to do with Tony Stark's origin at all. Was years out from his introduction in the MCU to bringing him into this scenario and him saving Tony Stark.
Yeah.
So the shrapnel doesn't get in his chest and he, doesn't become Iron Man and all that stuff, which I thought that was really cool. I'm like, okay, so this is like a real cool what if, because it's literally bringing things that were never going to collide with one another. There's nothing there to, make it similar. So, but I really thought it was cool. I loved, again, Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger is great. So it was fun to see him as Killmonger again. I guess I have to say spoilers because I'm probably going to, spoilers. I can't say too much without spoilers. I loved how he befriended Tony Stark, eventually, became like his right-hand man.
Manipulates everything.
And then ultimately turns on him. And then they go to invade Wakanda and stuff like that. And that's like another like subplot, another twist there where he's trying to, just like in the Black Panther movie, he's trying to make his way back to like take over Wakanda and stuff like that. So he's like 2-timing everyone. We see Andy Serkis back as Claw, which was really,
awesome.
really cool. And then, I already said spoiler, but there was a shocking moment where, you know, they freaking killed off Black Panther. And here I was like, what? Like, I didn't, because he was only in the episode for like a minute or two, 2-3 minutes, and like almost instantly, because he shows up to, you know, fight Claw and Killmonger, but he's defeated like
he
right
kills
away.
Like everybody.
He kills a lot of people. Like, it's crazy.
It's not just Black Panther.
But then there's even like the, you know, I'm a fan of lots of things in nerddom, so they even referenced Gundams in this episode.
Yeah, that's right.
When Tony Stark builds something that Killmonger designed, and he's like, yeah, this looks like a Gundam. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I love that the MCU is referencing so much anime recently, because in Shang-Chi they referenced like Goku and stuff like that, and Dragon Ball, and now in this they're referencing Gundams. I was like, that is, someone at Marvel Studios is clearly an anime fan, and I love that they're inserting little like, yes, that's so funny. But overall, no, I really, really dug the episode. You know, it was one of the better ones this season, and I can't wait till when it's done. I feel like we need to do an episode on where every episode ranks for us personally. We need, because I think there's 9 episodes total.
There's
so
2 more episodes,
which will bring 9 episodes total, right?
9 total.
So once it's done, I feel like we both have to make a list of like what was your favorite. And I'm saying right now, like, I don't think they're gonna beat the Doctor Strange episode.
It's gonna be tough.
Like, what if he lost his hands instead of?
It's gonna
or
be
if he lost
very
his heart
tough.
instead of his hands? Because for me, spoiler for that episode, my favorite 2 is the Doctor Strange episode and the Marvel Zombies one. Those are my 2 favorites. So 1 and 2.
I think that's probably going to be universal largely.
I mean, the Marvel Zombies. We didn't talk about the Marvel Zombies episode either on the show, on the podcast.
Did we skip that one too?
We did skip that one because we had a lot to catch up on. And
That's
we just really we went over things really quick. We didn't do episode by episode.
Well, the Marvel Zombies episode was excellent.
So good.
Really
so good.
Much more violent than I would have expected.
No.
It was like, I was like, oh my God.
My gosh, we didn't talk about this either. We were supposed to talk about this last week.
Which one?
So I told you when you were in your office, I saw it come up on my phone. Apparently, Marvel Studios is going to be exploring Marvel Zombies more.
Oh, yes.
Rumored to be live action Marvel Zombies. Dude.
I don't
know how we didn't talk about this.
And I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, okay, you want here. Do you remember? Wait, hold on.
I have a reason.
Okay.
I have a reason. I'll say that.
Do you remember in Spider-Man Far From Home where Mysterio's doing all that weird, like, you know, stuff, you know, putting the illusions on Peter, and you see skeleton zombie Iron Man briefly? Remember?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that part? That was one of the coolest parts where he's doing all the illusions on Spider-Man, and you see like the zombie decrepit like Iron Man come up. Like, because obviously at this point he's dead, so he's messing with Peter, and he sees like in half the helmet's just like a skeleton or a zombie.
Oh, yes.
Remember how creepy and awesome that looked? Now imagine Captain America, Thor, and that. Oh my, cool. Dude, that would be. Tim, can I tell you something? I'd pay to see that. I'd give you lots of money to see that.
I'll tell you why that it doesn't excite me as much, because The Walking Dead.
No,
This is why. Because
completely
The Walking Dead, we have said on the show that both of us agree that Walking Dead kind of overstayed its welcome, in our opinion.
Yes, for sure.
Right? Yeah, story-wise. And I believe...
It's still on, isn't it? Like, that's crazy.
And this is my point. My wife still watches the show.
Does she watch the spinoffs too?
She watches the Fear the Walking Dead.
Crazy.
She can't stop herself.
That is crazy.
She also admits that they should have wrapped it up by now, but she just has to see it through.
Clearly, they're still getting ratings.
She's in that camp.
Because they're definitely going.
People are still watching it. There's a diehard contingency that just will not let it go. And that's what's kept it going. And, you know, but my wife is in that camp. She just has to see it through to the end and see how it ends. And so as a result, I see many of the episodes as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm about 4 seasons past where, where I felt like they should have closed it out.
Do you know what season they're on? I don't even know what season they're on.
I believe it's 9 or 10.
Wow.
I might be wrong.
I don't 4 or 5.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? Now I'm going to look because...
But anyway, what's that have to do with Marvel Zombies?
Because it's the zombie thing. That's my point.
But this will be completely different.
Yes, it will. But this is my thing. This is my problem. I feel like The Walking Dead launched this era of endless zombie shows and movies and this and that and the other thing. I feel like Marvel Zombies, if they do this, for me, it's hitting at a time where it just feels like screaming into the wind. Just another zombie story lumped onto a gigantic mountain of a pile.
I wonder if that's because because I'm so detached from The Walking Dead. I feel like that show was canceled years ago, even though it's not. So like,
it freaking feels that way.
I'm like clamoring for it. Plus, I think it would be different enough. I mean, come on, man.
Oh,
like,
I was wrong.
You were wrong?
I was so wrong.
What season is it on?
I believe it's season 11.
Wow.
Season 11.
So like, since I stopped watching, which I believe is season 4 or 5, it's literally doubled in seasons. It did another 5 seasons since I stopped watching.
For real. But we've had, even just recently, you had.
What was the season? Because the last episode I saw is where Negan, spoiler, but this is years ago now, beat Glenn with a bat. That was the last episode I saw.
So it's funny that you reference that, because that's the last thing you saw?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the most recent, like, what's the plot line of the storyline that's going on now is Negan is actually partnered up with
the good guys.
Well, he's been.
He's good now.
He's been with I can't remember the name.
Alexandria,
of
or is that where we passed that? I don't even know where
it was Alexandria, and there was a hilltop, and both of those got overrun and overthrown by the Whisperers and the this and the that. But currently, what is the name of the character whose head he bashed in?
Glenn, yeah.
Okay, so Glenn's wife, he's with her.
They're together?
They're together. She hates his gut. No.
Oh.
They're working together to try and accomplish this particular goal. And she hates his guts, obviously. Maggie. Thank you. Maggie. So she hates him, wants to kill him, but can't because she needs him. He's trying to figure out, is there any way possible that we can reconcile and make amends? We need each other. I'm a different person now. He's doing that whole thing. So do you remember, like, way, way, way early on, I want to say it's like season 4 maybe of The Walking Dead, where Rick has like these visions and he sees him, or either that or we got flashes to a different time where you see old man Rick in bed and he's with Michonne.
Yes.
And Negan is working farming.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So it seems like we're working toward this end.
So the show's ending.
I don't know, because you supposedly still have these Rick Grimes movies coming.
But we don't know what place in time.
No, but I'm wondering if it's all going to end with that.
How did he leave in the show? Like, how did Rick leave? He just left the
Remember
group?
that whole explosion on the bridge?
Vaguely.
Or did you not see that?
I don't think I saw that.
Okay, so it all leads to they're fighting another one of the groups.
I love how we're explaining The Walking Dead. We're on a Walking Dead rant.
They're fighting this one of the groups. I can't remember which one. There's been several. And he blows up this bridge to keep walkers from moving from one area to another. And I think it was the Whisperers, maybe. But he blows up the bridge, but they had this whole plan and it went awry, of course, and he has to detonate the bomb with him on it. And he just looks over and, gives like Daryl and Michonne like the "I love you," and then blows up the bridge with him on it. And you think he's dead. They think he's dead. And then at the end of the season, I believe it was the last episode of the season, you see him kind of like getting picked up on it or flying away on a helicopter by someone. They never really explain who.
Okay, so he's alive.
Yeah. Well, that's now crazy. It seems like they're getting to the place. Whatever this place is, I can't remember what they're calling it. I think it's just called the Nation or the whatever it is.
The Nation of Domination.
Something. It
WWF
seems like
reference?
they're with the people now. A group of them are with the people now who found Rick. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing Rick again soon, or I don't know. Point is, it's season 11.
It's season 11.
And it's still going. And there's been 8. That's just The Walking Dead. There's been so many other zombie movies. No, even away from the Walking Dead like franchise, there's been so many different Walking Dead or zombie movies.
I guess
and
I'm not
television
following that stuff that much. Where to me, I
Dude,
feel like
it's
freaking
everywhere.
Plus, Marvel Zombies was first.
That's true.
It came out before the Walking Dead comic.
I just feel like Marvel waited too long to do it.
And funny enough, Robert Kirkman wrote the first Marvel Zombie. Yeah. So then he went on to do The Walking Dead after that, because clearly he's like, oh, zombies, I'm gonna do my own thing, create our own for Image. So I don't know. Plus, I think with the whole superhero aspect, with characters, because everyone knows the Marvel characters way more than they know The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead is huge, don't get me wrong. But still, everyone knows Spider-Man, Captain America, all those characters way more than they would know like Rick or Daryl, right?
Yeah.
Because they've been around way longer and all that stuff. So seeing them like a zombie Hulk, Tim, come on, a live action zombie Hulk that's like eating other superheroes.
You know how infuriating that would be if that's the coolest Hulk we got.
Oh, because you would have to go super evil. He would be chowing down on like freaking
so annoying,
like Thanos' arm or something like that.
That would be annoying.
Oh, but I'd be all about it though.
I mean, it could be cool.
All I'm saying is,
I would obviously give it a chance.
All I'm saying is, it's out there. It seems like it's something they're gonna do, and I'm excited if it comes to fruition.
Is there any rumors of what platform?
No. It was.
That would be like, is that gonna be a Disney Plus thing? That seems.
I don't know. I mean,
because the animated version of it was pretty. Was pretty gruesome.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like it's the whole not seen it makes it scarier, but it still gives you
if
the
they
PG,
go that route.
It gives you the PG-13 rating. So, I'm down.
Maybe that'll be the return of Scott Derrickson.
Oh man, I still wish we would have seen his Doctor Strange.
Yeah, me too.
That's sad.
I agree.
Although I told you we've talked about this long ago when all this news broke about the the shakeup with that movie with the Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I'm still excited for Raimi. Especially now knowing Raimi, a big reason probably why he's here is like, I'll do it, is because he's bringing his babies back with him.
Mm-hmm.
Doc Ock, freaking Green Goblin.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I'm still.
Which we haven't talked about that since the new Spider-Man trailer, which that makes, because we know that this year's ending
more sense.
Is ending with Spider-Man No Way Home. We know for sure that Doc Ock from the Raimi verse is in it. By the laugh in there, we could pretty much say that, the Green Goblin is in it too. What version? We're not sure yet, but one of the Sam Raimi Green Goblins.
Yeah.
So we know that's for sure. So it's got to be no accident that right after that, the following year, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, directed by Sam Raimi himself. It's called the Multiverse of Madness. We're already seeing multiversal stuff in No Way Home. There's no way we don't have more of that Raimi stuff in the Multiverse of Madness.
I guess
maybe the twist. Oh my gosh. Maybe the twist is everyone's like, No Way Home. That's where Tobey Maguire, that's where Andrew Garfield's going to be. Awesome. Could very well be the case, with all the rumors out there. But what if the twist is that's like the post, the end credit scene, and we actually get that in the Raimi directed Doctor Strange movie, and he's directing Tobey Maguire again. There's so many ways. There's so many ways you can go with this, but that would be cool.
Yeah, I guess it'd be cool. I'm with all of this stuff, with the Sam Raimi stuff. I have to stay with what I said. There's a lot of concerns there for me, so I'm definitely going to be a wait and see on that.
But you like the first two Spider-Man films, right?
The first one is just more nostalgic. I was younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was younger. It was one of the first really big tentpole blockbuster superhero films after Tim Burton's Batman films. I mean, you can have to kind of obviously have to bring up 78, the Christopher Reeves films.
And the X-Men films too that were before.
Yeah, the X-Men films were going on too. So, when did Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man come out? The first Spider-Man was
2001, I believe.
What?
99 or 2001. I guess we could Google it.
No, we have to look at that Spider-Man because I'm pretty sure that was in the 90s. Oh, no, my God, you're right. It was 2002.
2002, okay.
Oh, my God. Why do I think that was in the 90s?
I remember because I was...
So when was the first X-Men movie?
I was 15 when that came out.
When did X-Men hit?
That was 99 or 2000.
Stop it.
No.
It was 2000. It was 2 years before Spider-Man.
See? And then even before that,
wow.
You got to even credit Blade for kind of resurging all that stuff.
Yeah. That's true. Although it kind of felt a little apples oranges.
Yeah, but as far as...
It's not, but...
Yeah. But it's definitely what brought Marvel back into the movie spotlight.
Yeah. So X-Men, Spider-Man, they were kind of right there in that same window. So it was like the emergence of Marvel, the bigger Marvel tentpole films. So there's a lot of nostalgia. Plus, it was just awesome to see Spider-Man on screen like that for the first time.
Dude, no, I was 14, 15 when that came out. I remember going to Toys R Us, buying the action figures and stuff. I was about it.
Yeah, we all grew up watching some iteration of a Spider-Man cartoon. Yeah, Saturday morning cartoons, stuff like that.
There's a reason why Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man are like the three most popular characters. Yeah. Because no matter if you read the comics or not, you like Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman.
Just really fun, kind of
It's Americana.
It's kind of a universal character.
It's Americana. Yeah,
exactly. So the first Spider-Man more is like a nostalgia, but if you go back and watch it now, it's it doesn't kind of date his age as well. It has a certain
William
novelty
Dafoe's
to it.
voice as the Green Goblin.
Yeah, it definitely has
so
a
good.
novelty to it for sure. But as a movie, it didn't age quite as well. Spider-Man 2, I still think is a good movie. That holds up. It's still a fun superhero film.
I just love them. I love them both so much. Dude. I'm like
that's your Spider-Man,
dude.
Love and heart talking right there.
It's so good. It's so good.
But yeah, but it just generally Sam Raimi as a storyteller, his style. I kind of am a little bit in the camp. Again, this is not. I'm totally like, let's see what you do with it. Kevin Feige's obviously going to be there with the reins, so. To make sure it doesn't go too far off the rails, maybe. Yeah. But I can't even really say that anymore because he's definitely in this phase. He's letting people just try stuff. I think Thor Ragnarok kind of kicked that off, and they were doing some stuff in the latter half of the phase 3 there that was unique, and some of it worked and some of it didn't for me. And I think for different camps. But with phase 4. They're really, especially now with Disney Plus and everything like that, they're trying a lot of different stuff.
It mainly seems like it's about the timelines and multiverse, though.
Yeah. Well, WandaVision. Look at WandaVision. How different that show was. And it worked. It works. So I'm definitely willing to give the benefit of the doubt. Let's wait and see what they do. I just have more concerns with Sam Raimi taking the reins because of his style. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very it's kind of a
Evil
goofy,
Evil Dead guy.
Yeah, it's like goofy pulp horror.
And I like that stuff.
Yeah, but that's very niche though. Not everyone does. I'm in the camp of I don't.
I mean, it's got a huge
it's not
cult following, but it's definitely not super mainstream.
Not at all.
But again, this is the guy who brought Spider-Man, one of the biggest, superhero movies of all time to the big screen. So it's like, I don't know. I'm curious to see, and this is many years later. Now, he helped bring the resurgence of superhero movies back in a big way. So I'm curious to see now, like almost 2 decades later with all these, we're in phase 4 right now. All the DC movies, all the Marvel movies out, even movies like freaking that aren't DC Marvel, like Bloodshot and stuff like that. Just all the superhero movies we've had over those nearly 2 decades. I'm curious to see him being one of the pioneers of kind of launching that. What he's going to bring now, making one of the modern Marvel movies. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm curious.
It could go either way. It really could. That's kind of where I'm landing on it. It could go either way. It could it could be like a why?
I want a trailer for that.
Or it could be a really pleasant surprise. It's just like, wow, he just really he knew these characters and he knew where they could go from here. And but there's a part of me that I kind of wish that somebody else would have been able to play with those characters, although they are going to get to in Spider-Man No Way Home.
You know what's funny? I just realized this all came from the Killmonger What If episode.
I was about to circle back to that,
because I was like, we didn't talk about the Marvel Zombies episode, and then that led to the zombies and the live action stuff.
I kept it on the side there. I was going to circle back to it.
We are kings of like derailing.
That's
but
what
we come back. We're like boomerangs.
Yeah,
we go off and then we come back.
If you've been listening to the podcast from any stretch of time, you realize that these are just conversations of the normal conversations that Arris and I have.
Yeah.
We don't do tremendous structure. We're just talking about the things we like and we don't like. Yeah, it's a bullet point conversation. But yeah, I mean, Killmonger. You said you liked it. I liked it. I didn't like it probably as much as you do. But
you hated it. I can't believe you hated it, Tim. Why did you hate it?
I did not hate it. I liked it. I'm not as big on the Killmonger character as a lot of people are. I know a lot of people freaking just love Killmonger and think he's like the coolest villain.
I'll agree with you in the sense with the first movie that people were like, Killmonger. I'm like, no, Black Panther is still the hero. He's like still the guy, like, people were like, oh, I don't know. People were just all about Killmonger, but I was like, but Black Panther's like literally telling us how we should do this and do it the right way. Panther,
that was I think that definitely hits on my issue with Killmonger's character, and we talked about it at the time when the movie came out. That there was, there's definitely a Dr. King, Malcolm X element to the story between Killmonger and T'Challa.
And I'm all about Martin Luther.
Yeah,
I'm with the king.
That's me. I'm a Dr. King guy.
King
100%.
of Wakanda by accident. Yeah. Think not.
But there was a lot of people that were very much in the camp of kind of not just liking Killmonger as a character, but liking his sentiments.
For sure.
liking the things that he was, his view of the world and
Doing
how,
things by force.
Yeah, doing things a certain way. And I will never adopt that as any kind of.
I just saw you wearing an Anarchy shirt the other day, though.
Yeah,
I was like, does that stand for Arris? And you're like, no, Anarchy.
World domination. Yeah, no, that is I'm the farthest thing from that. So, I think that is probably one of the things that kind of irked me a little bit about the character. It was more the reaction to the character, I think, that kind of tainted the character for me than the actual character.
Because the character
itself.
and villain himself is dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And Michael B. Jordan did a tremendous job.
Love Michael B. Jordan.
It was one of the. I do think that he like some of the style that he used as far as the performance was in the early portions of the movie. I don't know why I'm bringing this up. This is so minuscule.
It's not even really relevant.
Yeah, it's not even relevant. The point is that he brought a really serious, character to life in a very thoughtful and provoking, or thought-provoking way, in a provocative way. And that was the intent, right? Was to present this provocative, concept of these two, different thought processes. It was more, I think, the kind of reaction, and that speaks more to the state of the world and a lot of the things that are going on that we obviously aren't going to get into. So maybe that is kind of like what has kind of a little bit of a. He's not my favorite character because I feel like it provokes some not good things that are going on in the world too much. But outside of that, I thought it was a really fun episode. I was like, dude, he's just going to kill everybody.
It's really cool.
I do like that. Cause I've talked to you many times. We've talked about, I like stories sometimes that just throw the audience off and the villain wins.
For sure. Yes.
Right. Because
like
that's real life sometimes.
Like Infinity War.
Yeah. Sometimes the bad guy wins. And, I like that element because it kind of is telling the story or presenting the idea to an audience of when good people do nothing, right? Evil wins, evil rises when good people do sit back and do nothing. That sort of a thing. And so apathy and complacency in the face of, things that are obviously wrong are only going to make things worse.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of sometimes telling a story where the villain wins so that you can say like, hey, this can happen. Like,
for sure.
And you can do that in different ways. But in this particular story, the bad guy wins for sure. I mean, the Killmonger just goes through and I think that they did, you saw a little bit of it in the movie in the Black Panther film, where, Killmonger was very clever and very manipulative, and he did a really good job of kind of worming his way into positions of power through any means necessary. Yeah, just a really smart, ruthless character, and they showed like really, just right there on a razor's edge, right, of good winning versus even in the Black Panther movie. T'Challa, for all intents and purposes, it gets killed. Yeah. Right. And they just luck out, the luck out. It was written that way. But, he almost, it's good versus evil. It's just all a matter of sometimes you just need just the right things to go right, for things to in the end be saved and salvaged. And in this, it tilts the other way. Yeah. So I really dug that element of the episode. So overall, I liked it. The Doctor Strange episode, it was night and day better than the Thor episode, but it was the Doctor Strange episode still, I think, is my favorite, like you. Yeah, that episode's going to be really hard to top, the Doctor Strange episode. There's 2 episodes left, I believe, and I don't know. I mean, they could, because Marvel Zombies one, that for me, like I said earlier, that rivals it for me. But I just think the whole story of the Doctor Strange episode and the concept of like how, if you do anything to save your loved one, that could mean, you're doing bad things because you're literally you're hurting other people, destroying the world just selfishly so you could have that thing that you lost, which that kind of storytelling is really, really cool. And I really like stories. I actually utilize this as a plot element a lot myself when I write. is I really am fascinated with how human beings struggle and deal with grief differently.
Oh, for sure.
Every person deals with grief and loss differently. So that really also dealt very heavily, like when you give into grief, when you give into loss and you focus on, solely on the loss itself. And, you let that turn into this selfish ambition.
I think just the theme of that episode was really cool and like what it was hitting.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a lot of different, really deep, thoughtful elements. And that made it a really compelling episode for sure.
But sticking with Disney Plus, Tim, there's another series that just launched and all at once, actually. It's not weekly. I thought it was going to be weekly, but Star Wars Visions.
Yeah. How many have you watched?
I've watched, let's see, I have it up right here because I want to know the title. There's 9 total. I've watched 7. So I got 2 more.
Really? You've watched that many?
Yeah, well, they're only
15 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes a piece.
I have not watched any.
So I don't know how you haven't, Tim.
Dude.
So I've been kind of savoring it. I've been doing like 2 or 3 a night because I don't want to, I kind of like, I want something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I kind of like the watching like 1 or 2 and not just doing it all, binging straight through it because then you're done. It's like, all right, now what?
Yeah, for real.
But anyway, so you haven't watched any?
I have not watched any, man. My kids are now, I've got 3 of my kids are in Taekwondo and both my boys just started football. So on top of work and the normal craziness of schedule, we've got all of those added things. So I have even less time than normal, which is like already almost 0.
Well, I will say the series as a whole, I think is hit or miss. Like for me, it's really 50-50, which I think kind of most people are saying. Like, again, I've watched 7 out of the 9 episodes. Let's see the ones I really liked. 1, 2, 3. 3 or 4 out of the 7 I watched. So half, let's say half. Half of the ones I've watched thus far, I've really liked. But there's...
What about the other half?
Some of them are just like...
Is it just the style?
It's just even the story though too, because they're all done from different anime like production studios, right? So so everyone's drawn differently. It's a different type of anime style, and the feel and tone. So some of it's kind of like more of like the Pokemon anime, where it's more like the child-friendly, kid poppy stuff. Right. Then other stuff is a little more gritty. You know what I mean?
That's the ones I'm looking for,
dude. The first one I think is the best episode, called the Duel.
The Duel.
That one, it deals with this Jedi or Sith, I won't say which one, that he's just called the Ronin. He's just called the Ronin.
Ooh.
And this is the synopsis. I pulled it up here. A wandering stranger with a mysterious past defends a village from powerful bandits. But it's done. The animation is gritty.
It's like the last Ronin as a Star Wars thing.
Sorta. It's only 14 minutes long. And it deals with this Ronin character who's really mysterious. We don't really know who he is, and he defends this village from his Sith Lord, and they're all original characters. Like, that's the thing with this series. Like, some of the episodes you'll see like Boba Fett or Jabba and stuff like that, but most of the characters, like 90% of them, are all original. Because this is like,
oh really?
Yeah, this is like non-canon. None of this isn't canon.
Right.
They're just like, this is Star Wars IP. Do what you want. Run.
Wow.
This is your take on Star Wars. If you had lightsabers and starships and all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really, really cool.
I love that because I mean, I'm not going to get into it obviously, but I actually had an original
or Star Wars, short
film concept that I was juggling.
It's in there. It's a non-canon thing, but the Duel, really, really
That's
good.
Dope. I love that.
It's my favorite one thus far. I think my second favorite one is The Elder. I actually watched that one last night right before I went to bed. In the synopsis is a Jedi and his Padawan pursue a dark and powerful presence on this planet.
You have to send me the ones that you think I'll like.
Okay, those are the 3 of my favorite.
So I can put them at the top of the list. And
right,
then
you watch them out of order.
Yeah.
But what's cool is the Jedi in that episode that titled The Elder, the English dub is voiced by David Harbour.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then his Padawan is Jordan Fisher.
Nice.
So I was like, David Harbour David Harbour is a Jedi now. He voices a Jedi in this.
That's pretty great.
It was really, and he did. I was like, who is that? That sounds Stranger Things. Like, oh my God, it's David Harbour. Like the whole time, I'm like, I know that's David Harbour. And
it kind of feels like he's everywhere,
dude, because he's great. Late. He's great.
Yeah.
So he did really, really well. That's another really good episode. That's my second favorite. And then for my top 3, my third favorite is called The Ninth Jedi. The daughter of a lightsaber smith is pursued by dark forces while on a dangerous mission. So it's really cool because her father makes lightsabers,
right.
And there's. I believe in this one. I don't want to give too much away, but I believe in this one, like the Sith and Jedi are like gone. So like the remaining dark forces are trying to get rid of all remaining lightsabers and anything that's connected to the Jedi.
Right.
So it's really cool. And there's they even do something unique with the lightsaber that he builds in there, which is dope. I don't want to say anything because you haven't seen it.
Yeah, don't.
Like, that's a cool idea. That's
it
a really
is
cool
a very
idea.
cool idea.
Same thing in the first episode, the Duel. They do something cool with one of the lightsabers in there. I'm like, that is so anime and so ridiculously out there. I love it. Like, it doesn't make it's one because anyone who watches anime knows like a lot of the stuff they do, like especially the weapons they use, make no like there's no way that like defies the laws of physics. Right. That's not a thing. But it just looks awesome, and that's all that matters.
I think a lot of things defy the laws of physics in the Star Wars universe.
But
so
anime specifically, they go out there, dude.
Right.
Like they're just it's crazy. But that's why I love it so much. But anyway, those are my 3 favorites, and overall, I think the series is fun. I would like to see more. Yes, it's very hit or miss, where I think by the end, at this rate, I'm probably going to love half the episodes and not dig the other half so much. But the ones we get are really, really cool. I see a lot of people saying that the Duel, they just want a series on that. Because again, it's really gritty.
I might watch that one tonight
cool.
then. I'm going to try and find some time tonight and see if I can watch it.
But I'm really digging it. And what's really cool about this is since I guess the series is seeing success, Lucasfilm has come out and said that they are not opposed to doing more Star Wars material that is non-canon.
Dude, let me tell you something. And we have absolutely, you and I in private, and I believe here on the show, we have commented several times of how amazing it would be. Because they've especially Filoni, a lot of Filoni stuff. Mm-hmm. We saw some of it in the most recent season of Mandalorian, where they have inserted Asian culture and martial arts.
Dude, there's some lightsabers in here that are...
Dude.
You probably seen the trailers, but it's literally...
I want a whole
movie.
Katana. Yeah, I want a whole movie, like Samurai Jedi. Like
that Ahsoka episode.
The Ahsoka episode
yep.
is the perfect example. You give me a whole movie rooted in like a planet that is like... They're like samurais, but Jedi, mm-hmm. or with lightsabers and stuff like that. Bro. That would be, and do that just as a non-canon side story with new characters, dude. Yeah, bring him back.
I will say, there's a dude. Even some of the music in here is like, oh, that is like they're just using Star Wars like themes, like John Williams stuff. And there's even a lot of lines like they in several of the episodes. I feel like it's a Star Wars trend now. It's kind of like, you did Star Wars, you have to say this. It's like, right. I have a bad feeling. I have a bad feeling about this. Like, and like several of those episodes, some of the characters say that. I love how that's like just become a tagline for the Star Wars franchise.
Just insert it
just
throughout.
Like, it's like, I get it, because that's what you say now. But no, it's really fun, and I can't wait to like, if they explore this, because it seems like we might get a season 2 for Visions. They have not confirmed that, right. But from the way Lucasfilm is talking about it, it seems like it's very plausible. But I just want more like, I think doing, because I'm a fan of, I say it all the time, Elseworlds, What If. I love that, because you can do anything. You can kill characters, you can bring new characters. There's no rules. You do whatever you want. And our fans won't get mad because it's an alternate universe.
Right.
So I think this is the perfect place to do that. Do stuff like, imagine bringing Starkiller from the Star Wars video games in here.
That would be amazing.
Dude. Because I don't think they would ever do it in canon.
Yeah. So
it's like, just do like, the expanded universe stuff.
Dude, even like what they're doing with the Fallen Order. I mean, I know that's supposed to be in canon.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it is. But I'm saying where you're telling this story, that feels very on its own, mm-hmm. right? It's in canon and it references all the things that are going on inside the canon, the canonical films and shows. But it has that vibe of it's kind of a side story. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that where you're telling of these characters that can play a broader role. They can insert. What I don't want them to do, and I'm sure there's many of you who will agree with me, I do not want them to do that with the Old Republic.
Oh, right. No, that needs to be canon.
Yes.
Canon for sure.
Do not, please, Lucasfilm. if you ever go old,
what if they
finally do the
High
Old
Republic canon and Old Republic expanded universe.
Could you imagine the fan base
would riot?
No joke.
Riot.
Yeah, you know how they say like Walking Dead fans are like, if Daryl dies, we riot? That would be the Star Wars
because it would be
fan equivalent.
It would be this weird love-hate, like, I get to see it, but you're telling me it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, where it's not canon. Yeah. Like, it doesn't line up with anything.
Right. It doesn't tie in these characters, which I don't think that they'll do it. No. I'm just saying, please don't let that
if anything,
ever
what they
happen.
even,
if it ever even happens in the first place.
I think, based on that statement of them, loosely saying that, I think it mainly means the way, because they're referring to it, they're answering their question in a response to Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
So I think it's just saying that they're more open to giving other studios license to play with, the Star Wars IP. Like, okay, we know like Japan and anime does cool stuff. What if there's another studio that could do a really interesting take with Star Wars? Or maybe we want to do,
it's an interesting.
Yeah, we want to do our own samurai take on Star Wars that has nothing to do with like the Skywalkers or anything.
It's an interesting concept, but also really risky.
It is.
I mean, I'm sure Lucasfilm, the way that they are, especially they're owned by Disney.
Yeah.
They're going to be strict as whatever if they branch out, it will be like with really strict.
And the good thing is Filoni is now overseeing all the creative side. So I don't think he would let anything happen that's going to stray too far.
I wonder if because we already know he has an affinity for like, Kung Fu and martial arts culture and stuff like that.
I'm so excited for this.
I wonder if that's playing a role in them branching out like this. If Filoni's influence is what is leading to that.
Dude. We keep saying it. I'm excited for Boba. Like, I'm so excited for the Book of Boba Fett. But Ahsoka, because he's writing and directing Tim.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is just his baby.
Yeah.
More so than The Mandalorian, because he's literally like, this is his baby. He's writing and directing. Dude. And he co-created Ahsoka.
This is the first time that he's in a live action format.
Excited.
This is the first time that he's
so excited.
It's his thing, start to finish. He's writing, directing it, the whole deal.
And even Rodriguez, who's doing Book of Boba Fett, he keeps saying, he's very vocal. He's like, if you think that scene where Boba Fett is like hammering those stormtroopers in season 2 is anything, he goes like, you haven't seen nothing yet. Like he's ramping up to a 10.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to listen
because
it
was so the way that he made him just like brute force, like he just fought like it was just like a bar brawler where it was just
amazing.
Savagery,
just absolutely brutal.
And then the lore, and everyone just loves Boba Fett, and we've heard about Boba Fett, this like legendary bounty hunter. So for him to bring that to now an older, it's almost like Dark Knight. Bruce Wayne.
Exactly right.
But with Boba Fett, where he's the disgruntled old bounty hunter who's like, I'm just going to beat you to a bloody pulp. Like, and now he's got Jabba's throne. He's ruling the Dude.
I was looking at it. I was looking at it as if like the Punisher became a Mandalorian.
Oh my,
that's kind of how I was looking at it. But I love that the Dark Knight is.
And Fennec is his right hand woman, and she's super cool.
Super cool.
That's another thing I'll say. We said it before, but the way that Favreau and Filoni are handling all these female characters is some of the best I've ever seen.
Oh, without any question.
Like, awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Yeah, there's a lot of times that
awesome.
like they don't do like the tough character well, like the storytellers, to where it just comes off kind of unbelievable. But man, these Favreau and Filoni, like with Gina Carano's character, what was the character's name? I'm having a brain fart. Cara Dune. Like she was just brutal. You believed every second of that.
And then even Fennec, like just how
Fennec is amazing, which is the voice of Mulan, which is amazing. but yeah, super super cool, just top to bottom.
The Disney family. Yeah,
but I don't want to I don't want to think about it because I don't want to get too hyped up. Because
but just think of this next year. Because we're on Marvel kick right now, because there's a lot of Marvel stuff coming out. But once we get to December,
it's going to be a lot of
Star Wars, because we got Book of Boba Fett. We got The Mandalorian Season 3. We hope. We got Ahsoka coming. We got just Obi-Wan, which I think just wrapped production.
That's another one I'm trying not to think about.
2022, the year of Star Wars.
It's going to be a lot of Star Wars.
Because most of that, I think actually all the ones I just named is Favreau, and it's their verse. It's their Star Wars verse.
Yep. I know. I'm jacked. I'm trying to temper the excitement, man.
I'm so excited
because I don't want to be. I don't want to get myself too worked up.
I have complete faith.
I'm trying to like put it out of my mind because I'm really jacked about that.
All right, but Tim, we got to end this with something that's not really comic booky. Actually, it's video gamey, but it's fun.
It's very unexpected.
Very unexpected, but for me, I'm about it though. I know there's been a lot of like, I don't know. It's been very polarized.
You're much more like childlike excited about the general concept.
Okay. So they're doing an animated Mario movie.
Yeah.
That's coming out 2023, I believe.
Yeah. Which is super fun.
Super fun.
Yeah.
But they announced the voice cast. And they announced that Mario is going to be played, or voiced rather, by Chris Pratt, Star-Lord himself.
Yeah.
And that Luigi will be Charlie Day, Bowser will be Jack Black, and Peach will be, oh man, I forgot her name. Let's see. What is it? Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy will be Peach. So there's more Peel is in the movie. It's a star-studded voice cast for sure.
Doubt.
But those are the the main 4 characters you got.
I believe even Sebastian Maniscalco is getting in on the act. He's playing Spike.
Spike, yeah, which is kind of a little more of an obscure Mario-verse character. I love him saying Mario-verse. Everything's a verse now. But yeah, one of the more obscure characters in the Mario world. But I don't, now here's the thing. I love the Mario. I'm actually...
Well, let's preface by saying the casting of Chris Pratt, particularly as Mario, has gotten a lot of hate.
A lot of hate. It's very polarized. But it's kind of I'm very much of the world where I won't judge until I at least see a trailer or see a bit or hear a clip of it. Because there's been so many times. My 2 go-tos. My number 1 go-to is Heath Ledger. I still remember vividly. Most people, when Heath Ledger was cast as a Joker, was like, "Oh, you got that guy." No. And one of the best performances in all of movie history.
How's it go?
No, go. Not the Ledger.
It's true. And to be honest, full transparency, I was in that camp. I was not sure how. I wasn't down on it. I just was like, I don't know how that's going to play.
Most people were. And
Killed
one of the best performances in movie history, period.
Yeah. I've never been so happy to be wrong.
We haven't seen the Batman yet, but from the trailers, it looks like Pattinson is going to be an amazing Batman.
He was another one where I was just like, I don't know. I just can't see it.
A lot of people were.
But I had several people that I know that were just like, no, you got to go see this movie. He's done a lot because he's done a lot of independent work over the last few years. And I was just like, I haven't seen that. To be fair, I haven't seen that film. So maybe because I'm just looking at Twilight.
Everyone's like, glittery vampire, right?
So I was just like, I'm not bad down on it, but I'm just not sure I don't really see it. And then the trailer.
And now with Mario, Chris Pratt, they're all like Parks Rec, Star-Lord. How is he going to be like an Italian? Like, it's me, Mario. But I'm like, I told you before we started, I'm like, I don't know. He could be good because he's an actor. That's what he does.
Yeah.
His whole job is to play someone that's not himself and change his persona.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he could do it. Plus, we don't know what version they're going. What if they're not going the super stereotypical, like, it's me, give me a pizza. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's what people are hoping isn't the case. I think that's why people are like kind of down on it.
Because it does seem like with the cast, they're going very star-studded, like Lego movie-esque.
Yes, without a doubt.
So I get that because, again, I'm out of all the systems, like I know I'm not a big gamer, but I love Nintendo. That's the one that stuck with me.
Dude,
I'm a massive Nintendo head.
Just the Mario universe.
Right.
And that is a beloved, long-lasting, one of the oldest modern video game universes.
Most of the Switch games I have are like Mario Kart, Mario Party, like they're like mainly Mario games. So get it. But I don't know. I feel like this could just be fun. Like, because I like Chris Pratt. I love Charlie Day. I like Jack Black. I feel like this could just be a fun Mario movie. And I think, I'm just not going to judge it until I get a trailer.
I 100% agree. And it's being done with Illumination.
That's what
which is Despicable Me, which is what's
Minions.
That's Despicable Me.
But they got their own solo.
No, what's the cat? The cat's in the my Pets, Secret Life of Pets.
Yep.
So they did Secret Life of Pets and a number of other movies. So
it's just DreamWorks, though, right? It's all under DreamWorks too, or is Illumination its own thing?
No, Illumination is its own thing.
It's not a subcategory of DreamWorks.
I don't know the answer to that. Actually,
I thought it's like Shrek and How to Train a Dragon and all that stuff too. Yeah, I believe so. Kind of like Disney.
If it is,
Pixar.
that's not. I didn't know that.
Let's find out.
But the point is that it's being made by very capable, proven, production company and filmmakers. And these are all really funny people. Like Charlie Day, really funny. Chris Pratt, really funny, really entertaining, very charismatic guy. Having said that, when I first heard the news, I was very much in the camp of like, oh, that's a weird casting, right? And I was a little bit more down on it until I saw how much hate it was getting, and then I was just like, okay, everybody needs to calm down. Like, it's not that serious. Again, I totally understand. This is one of the few franchises, period, not just gaming franchises, period, that I played as a kid and my kids equally play as a kid. Like, it just has gone from generation to generation. It has stood the test of time. It's just kind of a universally loved group of characters and franchise and stuff like that. So I get people want it to be true to that, and you cannot hear Mario in Chris Pratt's voice. I get that. I agree with that. That is a weird casting for me. Having said that, I've never heard him do a Mario impression.
That's true. And he said on his Instagram that he said it's
Mario.
He's been working on the voice. They all have, I guess, with the director and everything, but he's not going to show it to us yet. So there is a voice he's doing. It's not just going to be Chris Pratt talking.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would imagine it wouldn't be that hard for him to just turn into, Mario.
I mean, worst case scenario, it's gonna be a fun day at the movies with the family.
That's where I think I'm at with it. Where
it's not that serious.
Where it's like an animated movie. It's meant for family and kids.
Yes.
Where I'm not. It's not like freaking The Batman, where it's clearly a PG-13. They're going dark with that. It's clearly like a teen, young adult audience. This is clearly like for kids.
Yeah, you're not getting a deep thematic storyline and arc. It's just Mario, probably. Well, I don't know if he'll be saving Peach this time around, but it's Bowser and Mario and
Plus
Luigi.
Jack Black is Bowser. That's gonna be funny.
That's gonna be funny. Like Kung Fu Panda is now Bowser. That's a funny concept. There's a couple people that I probably would have liked to have seen do Bowser, but once I heard Jack Black was doing it, I was just like, okay, yeah. Let's just have Jack Black.
I'm very curious.
Because Jack Black is just funny with everything he does.
Although I hope it is, because again, like you were saying, everything Mario. I mean, that's Americana right there too. Even though it's funny, it's not. It didn't originate in America, but it's become a part of America pop culture. Huge part.
Global pop culture.
Yeah. So I do hope they do it justice, because my daughters will definitely want to watch it. But I don't know. I'm just not like anything. It's just I'm over I think what it is. It's not that I don't love Mario. It's near and dear to me, because I do. It's a massive part of my childhood and stuff like that. It's just I'm not on the whole let's judge it before we even see anything yet. Like there's not even a poster yet.
I feel like this is where you were headed, and I was going to be like, yes. I am so, especially after the last few years, I am so over the outrage machine.
Yeah.
Just everybody
so
calm
settle down,
man. This stuff is just meant to be fun. It's not meant to be that serious. I know we take a lot of I just got done ranting about the Hulk and how they treated the Hulk and Marvel. So I get it. There are certain things, and we all have our thing, but I think just generally it's like, this is just meant to be a family film.
And I feel like people
I think Charlie Day being cast as Luigi was a little even weirder than Chris Pratt as Mario.
Because his voice is so distinct.
Yeah, it's such a distinct. But these are funny guys. These are funny people. And, it's going to be fun. It might not sound exactly like Mario or sound exactly like Luigi, but it's going to be fun.
I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of thinking too, like, can you imagine, like, you think it would work the whole time, like, in that stereotypical Italian voice, like him talking like that an entire, because in the games,
probably not.
Because in the games, you just hear Mario go like, he says phrases. He doesn't have conversations.
Yeah.
I feel like it might get a little annoying if they went that full, like, yippee! Like it might be a little weird.
Mario.
They might have. I feel like you almost kind of have to tame it down a little bit, because now you're.
Well, I mean, you have to ask, like, okay, what would that sound like? We've seen what it sounds like in the cartoons.
Right.
But even in the cartoons, the original cartoons, it really didn't sound like Mario.
No, they tamed it down a little bit. It seems like you kind of have to.
I mean, look what they did. This is maybe not the best reference, but do you remember the Super Mario Brothers movie? The live action
for
movie?
Sure.
With John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins. Yeah, that's probably not the best reference.
I will say, though,
but it was total departure.
That movie just because I have fond memories of it. I understand it's not a good movie. Still like the movie because my childhood.
It lands in that window of time where
the Goomba is what they did, and like the power boots. That's how they jump.
90s,
like, it was weird.
Where there's a lot of nostalgia there, whatever. But a point is that they've already done a whole bunch of different versions of these characters for animated cartoons, for the live action movie. So it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be fun, and it's probably going to be well done. It's probably going to be the best version.
Oh, for sure. It's
of the Mario, great. Like a Mario film or television show that we've gotten so far.
I'm curious to see the world, just like you said, visually. It's going to be great.
And when that comes out, that'll probably be right around the time where they're opening Nintendo World and Universal
You think that's
Orlando.
by accident?
Probably
no,
not.
It's not.
So, maybe, just maybe, we'll have to go cover the open of
I'll battle you in
Nintendo
Mario
world.
Kart in real life.
Dude, bring it on. Bring it on.
But yeah, I think that brings today's podcast to a close, Tim.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for the day. There's other things to talk about, but we're out of time.
We're out of time. So next week, same bat channel, same bat time. But anyway, guys, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.